Hello and welcome back to the Melton True Blue podcast. This is episode 10. My name is Taryn and we are joined by our guest, Ty Rainey. Today we're going to learn a little bit about Ty, how he heard about Melton, and also a little bit more about his position. So Ty is our safety manager here and has been with the company for
7 years.
Didn't you just hit your anniversary as well?
Just turned 7, yeah.
Just turned 7 years.
Yep.
And I kind of want to take it back to 7 years ago. You know, I know safety manager, and this is our first employee from safety we've had on the podcast, so I'm excited about this. But how did you get into the world of safety? I know you and I went to the same college, and they have a safety program there, correct?
They do, yeah. Environmental health and safety. Shoot, college, you're a young kid, big dreams. You don't know really what you're going to do, but I always knew I wanted to help people.
Yeah.
And how could I help people and influence people daily? And that's through the front lines of safety.
Sure. Now, going through the environmental health and safety program, was it trucking or transportation specific at that time?
No. Actually, when, who would have thought I would be here 7 years later?
Sure. Right.
Life kind of took its own path and worked out. And no, I never thought I'd be in transportation, but here I am.
As far as the coursework in college, though, for the EHS major, I mean, was it just kind of more warehouse safety?
Oh, God, environmental chemistry, you can go down that road, industrial, warehouse safety, machine safety, safeguarding, that sort of thing is what their program's more aimed at. But again, you could branch out after that, and
sure,
you could land wherever you take your experience.
Yeah, I think it's a really broad degree. I think it gets you into a lot of fields, and like you mentioned, transportation isn't one of those industries, especially when I was in college too, or even younger, I didn't say, by God, I can't wait to grow up and be in the transportation industry. I think it's one of those industries you fall into, and when you get into it, you fall in love, you find the passion for it, and you really see the big picture of what it does. Now, going back to when you first started with Melton, was this an internship for you? Remind me, I think you started as an intern, correct?
Yeah. So I took after college with, they make it seem a lot easier to get a job out of college than the professors do. But I kind of went out on a limb and I reached out to Robert Reagan, actually, friend of a friend and father-in-law, and reached out to him, and he got me in the door, set me down with Scott Steffen, and just a bright-eyed young college kid, college graduate, and didn't know what I had in front of me, but I owe it to them. They got me in the door and gave me an opportunity, and 7 years later, here I am.
And what was your internship? Do you remember that, or what was just safety intern?
Yeah, that was.
Were you mostly doing logs, or what were you doing?
Yeah, man, that's many moons ago. But what I was doing was compliance. So,
okay.
Driver's licenses, annual reviews at the time, and physicals was a big thing. And then everything has an expiration date, and making sure you're getting those messages out and those guys ahead of time to get those things updated. But yeah, mainly credentials, a lot of busy work, but a great intro to professional development.
Sure. And so you went from the safety internship, and what was your next promotion after that?
Safety.
To full-time role?
Yeah. Then after Josh Garner left, I don't know if you guys know Josh Garner, but
flew with him.
Yeah.
My wife and I did.
Yes.
I think your wife did too, right?
Yeah. Flew with them, but yeah. So Josh departed, went to flight safety, or was a flight instructor out there, and then so I moved into the drive cam world. The cameras, inward, outward facing cameras, and coaching, and again, being on the front lines, helping out drivers, and I did that for about 4 years, I think. 4 years?
Yeah.
In the drive cam world, yeah.
And then moved into the safety manager role, correct?
And then
right after that.
Right.
And I think it's kind of neat, your career path, going from that internship to the drive cams and now to safety manager, you kind of got to see safety full circle. And like you mentioned on the internship, it seemed like busy work, or it seemed like, kind of some entry level stuff. But when you do that, it's really opening the doors, like you said, to that professional development of, okay, well, hey, I know why we need this document. I know why it needs to be updated. Because when you get into these higher roles, you know how important that one document is for our company.
Right. And you like I said, you don't know what you don't know, and it's good to be well-rounded and understanding different departments and understanding what goes on over in the compliance side to the safety accident side. All those are intertangled some way, and to be well-rounded and well-versed is something that's important. A lot of people do it here. A lot of people bounce around, and I mean, just Lisa Mason and Angie for an example. They just swapped roles.
Right.
And being well-rounded, that's a good trait to have.
Yeah, kind of what can you bring from what you know to this part that you don't know,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And we have such good people around us that can teach us those things. You mentioned Scott, now Melissa, that you can go to any time of the day, phone call away or an office away, where you can go ask that question, say, hey, I don't know, or hey, let's work through this together. And I know you do a lot of work with Mike Dargell, our general counsel, for a lot of stuff you do as well. So a lot of good people surrounding you to make sure we make the right decisions for the company, because some of these decisions you're making are big decisions.
Yeah, big decisions, and again, going back to those guys that they've been here forever. Mike, Scott,
Right.
Melissa, these guys have been here 20 years, and
Yeah.
all that experience, and it's helpful. It's helpful to be guided, and they've seen it all.
Sure.
And it's great mentoring.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, going back to the drive cam, and I know you're still over that for the most part. I think when our drivers are listening to this podcast or looking to join Melton, they hear the word inward and outward facing cameras, and immediately it's that sketches me out, or I don't like the idea of that. Can you just give an example or just kind of an idea of why we do that as a company?
Absolutely, and I explained it in orientation every week, and we have a drive cam class too, and a lot of things out there relating to the cameras are almost conspiracy theories of how they work.
Sure.
and when they work and what they're in the trucks for. But the bottom line is the cameras are in the truck to protect the driver. I mean, straightforward. And how those cameras trigger is G-forces, accelerometers inside the camera. Hard brake, potholes, truck stops that look like the surface of the moon will set the camera off, okay?
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily tied to a score. It has to be, certainly a drive cam event can dock your safety score, but it has to be a warm body, a coach having to put that in the system.
Sure.
So drive cam could trigger 10 times in a day due to potholes or whatever, but that's not going to hurt your safety score.
Right.
Those have to be reviewed by a warm body and then, discussed from there.
Right.
So
And I think it's good to clear that up. I think we hear that word camera and it's automatically going into the spying world, and we don't have time for that. I know your team certainly does not, and those cameras are in there, like Ty said, to protect you and the company, and both of those are very important to us. And going back to you said warm body. So on your team, you have how many on your team right now?
on drive cam or total?
Total team.
Eight.
Eight people on your team.
Eight people.
And
yeah.
so we have people doing solely logs, solely drive cam. What's kind of that breakdown of the safety
A
team?
breakdown is we have the compliance side of it, still the driver's licenses, all that stuff. And then, we have a log division. Basically, we manage logs and then just risk management in general,
Sure.
accidents and we got to do a job here, and I wish we could keep everybody, but we have to mitigate risk here, and that's what we take very seriously. Melton Truck Lines in general, and a blue truck, and if we have to mitigate risk, and we will do what's necessary.
Sure.
But back to the drive cam, Taryn. How many drive cams do you think we get a quarter?
Oh gosh, a quarter. I'm gonna say. I'm gonna shoot a number here. I'm gonna say 10,000.
30,000.
Okay. All right.
30,000 events
My
get
goodness.
triggered every quarter. And again, some of those, majority of those, in fact, are not coachable, right? They're just potholes or maybe
Okay.
something out there that could have triggered the camera. Even
Sure.
cornering. If you turn a truck too hard, corner, if it rocks, it'll trigger. It's very important that our coaches will go through all those events in almost real time as that camera triggers and deem what's coachable or not. And real-time coaching is effective.
Sure.
And that's why we do it. We
Yeah.
want to get there. If there's an issue we need to get in front of, we want to get in front of it now.
And when you say real-time training, that's a Russell or a Shay or somebody giving you a call
Right.
and saying, "Hey, let's talk about what happened there." Correct?
Right. Shane Patterson and Chris Sharrock are in the drive cam world, and they hammer it out daily. And typically, when a camera triggers, it could be anywhere from 10 seconds after that to about 2 minutes, probably till we get the video transmitted. They review it and they sign off on if it's coachable, or if it's not coachable, they move on. We got 30,000, so
You gotta
move
get
on
through
to
them.
the next one. Absolutely.
Sure. Now, and going back to kind of the breakdown of your team, logs is a huge part of it too. And I think that's another feat. When I went to driver orientation to become an employee here, Melton likes a lot of our office folks to go through the driver orientation process and to do a truck trip, just to see what our drivers go through on a daily basis. And we get a snippet of it. We get a couple hours a day of it, but it really gives you a good picture of what they do. And that logs piece, I think, is a confusing piece. I think with the ELDs now, it's certainly helped us. But you were here, and so was I, just not as a role when we switched over to the mandatory ELDs, correct?
Well, they were here when I'm not that old.
Well, wasn't there some sort of major switch where we had to switch everything over from?
That was well, there was a big switch in drive cam, but ELD.
No, okay,
Yeah,
am I making that up?
I'm not that old.
No, I know
paper
that.
logs
Yeah.
and that, but I may look old.
No.
Or I feel old. I'll tell you that.
Now the ELDs we have, those are all ran by Qualcomm.
Qualcomm, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
How easy of a system is that to navigate? A driver looking at Melton truck lines sees that Qualcomm on our trucks. Is it a fairly user-friendly system?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just have to tell the Qualcomm what you're doing.
Okay.
And that's something I see missed a lot. It's a very easy device. It's very user-friendly. And I know the work's getting done out there for our drivers, but it's very important that the DOT knows what you're doing. You have to be able to back up your story. On-duty remarks, pick up the Qualcomm, and you got to tell it what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's the big thing there, and that gets missed, and it can't.
Sure. So as long as you're using it the right way, it's an easy system to use, and it's
Yeah. I mean,
pretty push or point and click system.
oh, I mean, it's very user-friendly.
Good.
We offer tutorials if the driver's struggling with it, but yeah, very
Yeah.
user-friendly.
I know you guys are doing a lot of new training modules as well. I think Chris is doing a lot of the training. Is that correct?
Yeah. Vargas is in the seat now, and he's busting out training left and right.
Yeah.
Very good training. I mean,
I've seen a couple of them, and they're awesome.
good training in the Melton app. Safety, there's log training, there's all sorts of good training in there. Chris and our teams work very hard on, so please go check it out.
Yeah. And as far as some of our other employees listening to this in other departments, what are some tips that you could give operations to help safety out? What are some things that they can do to help you out? And I know you guys all work kind of hand in hand together, but it's two different worlds, right? Is there anything that a driver manager can be coaching their driver on, or be letting their driver know about something to help you guys out?
Yeah, how much time do I got? No, I'm joking. No, it's safety's on the first floor, operations on the second floor. And I always, when I'm counseling a driver about time management, I always look up. That's the second floor. That's where you're making money. Down here is we do it safely. So you have to find that middle ground of operations and safety where you can still make money, but you got to do it safely.
Sure.
You got to do it the right way. And I mean, if I could, just being able to adjust ETAs and operations, they do that all the time. And a lot of new drivers just don't understand they have that capability.
Sure.
And sometimes they assume I got to go, but no, just communicate with your DM. ETAs can be adjusted, but talk to your DM and start that process early so it's not a shock at the end of an appointment time when you're 5 hours late.
And all this comes back to is communication. Even if it's driver to driver manager, driver to safety, or even driver to Qualcomm, you've got to communicate with somebody or the machine and let them know what's going on, right? And if we have that communication documented, we can do a lot more on our end to help that driver out with that proper communication on our end here in the office.
Right. Yeah. And when it comes to safety, we all of my guys, including myself, we get paid to help the driver succeed.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell them all the time, and they should all know that. Listening is call us ahead of time if you have an issue with your logs or how to use PC, or if safety can help you in any way, please call first rather than assume and then we're digging it up on the back end.
Right.
We're here to help you.
Yeah, and it's a great point as well. And also talking about other terminals, we have some safety functions in some other terminals as well. Do you want to talk about kind of the functions in Laredo and Masery, correct?
Yeah. So in Laredo's a different animal down there. Matt Komblevitz and our new addition to safety, Leticia, are doing a fantastic job in Laredo. And God, they're busy down there, and they do a lot for our team. And I'm thankful for Matt and Leticia. And then in Masery, we got Carl Bond, who is, Carl Bond is one of my go-to guys. He's solid, and he's always able to help drivers, always happy to help, and he's just another phone call away.
Sure.
we have these resources out and distributed around, and just let us help you.
Yeah, and it's a big thing here for us is I don't want safety for any of our drivers to be an intimidating phone call. It's not. It's a phone call to see how we can help you over the road. And what I say a lot of times is we want your job to be as easy as possible over the road. Whatever we can do for you in the office to make that job easier, we're going to do it for you. But we need to communicate with you in order to do that. And Ty and his team are certainly a great resource for that. Yeah, absolutely. I think safety is a really neat world, and you've been in it for a long time. You've seen a lot of different things and seen a lot of really neat positions, and just letting our drivers know that we're here for them. We're not out to get them at all.
No. It's all about mitigating risk, and one thing Rick Vincent always told me is, when he's about to counsel a driver, he goes, I don't care if you're the mayor of your small town or the leader of the Boy Scouts. I'm here to mitigate risk, and we leave all that stuff at the door, and that's our job at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We have to mitigate risk, but we're here to help. I don't want to deter a phone call because it's safety.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And now going back just real quick to Melton, Ty, as far as an employee here, been here 7 years, what do you enjoy about this place? Obviously something is good to have you here for 7 years. We talked about, the Melissas, the Scotts, and the Mikes who've been here for forever. Well, you're on your way to forever. What keeps you here? What makes you say, hey, this is the place I want to be and grow my roots?
I can't say enough good things about this place. It's homey. God, the employees are great. I love seeing the drivers daily, and it's just a testament. Look at everybody's tenure here.
Yeah.
10 plus, 15 plus, 20 plus. It's sometimes you hear the saying, the grass is not always greener on the other side, and there's a reason people are here forever. And
sure.
It's a great culture, and I love what I do.
Yeah. I think the job's interesting, but also just the people, the culture, like you mentioned. There's not much like it, and it's hard to describe until you're in the doors and you can feel it, or meet these people.
Absolutely.
And get to know them. But everyone's here for the same goal. Everyone enjoys being here. There's not that one person where you're just like, man, I don't want to deal with this person today. We're all here to get people through the day. And sometimes we have bad days, but when you have a good team around you,
right.
You get through those bad days, right? So thanks for sharing a little bit about that. And anything else you'd like to add about safety, about Melton?
No, I don't. Like I said, we're here to help. We definitely want drivers to feel like they can communicate to us whenever, even after hours. Like I said, I just can't stress it enough. Don't ever hesitate to reach out to our team. We're here to help.
Sure,
we really are.
Absolutely. Well, awesome. Well, everyone, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Melton True Blue podcast. It's always a pleasure. My name's Taryn.
Ty and safety.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anyone wants to be on the podcast or has any great ideas for the podcast, please reach out, and thanks for listening.